Time to paint Brad Vickers for the Resident Evil Boardgame by Steamforged Games. Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will be painting up Brad Vickers from the Resident Evil Boardgame by Steamforged Games. Good old Chicken Heart himself and the Alpha Team pilot. First he was washed in a warm soapy bath and scrubbed with a toothbrush. That's to get any release agent off. And then he was base coated, sprayed in Brain Matter Beige from the Army Painter line, the spray can. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into painting him. Our first step, we are going to go in with Kislev Flesh, and this is going to be for all his skin areas. So as always, I have a wet palette here, which is I got off Amazon, and it's a Army Painter wet palette, and it is great for keeping all your paints in a nice moist state, so they stay usable for a lot longer. They don't dry out so quick, and you can come back to use them the next day just by adding a tiny bit more pigment in, a bit more paint in. I also use on these finer details, I'm using a thinner brush, since someone asked me that question in a previous video, what brushes do I use? So for all these fine details I use a finer brush, and when it comes to washing I use a larger washing brush. You'll see all that in the stages as I go along. Just all you need to do is get a good feel of what you're doing. It'll become second nature before long on what tools you need for what job. So yeah, I'll get this finished on Brad's face and we'll be back. Okay, so that's taken a couple of coats, thin coats, to get a nice colour on his skin. Next we're going to go in with Ork Flesh. So whilst that's drying, I'm going to go and do his trousers and his helmet in this. This is a nice dark green, base green. This will probably need 2 coats as well, just to get a nice coverage. Try and be as neat as possible, keeping off other areas. It's not so bad on areas such as the straps and stuff, because they're going to be even darker, but lighter areas, just be careful, take your time, and you'll do okay, especially on over here on the helmet. You want to try and avoid fingers and stuff, like so. Yeah, I'll probably need 2 coats. I'll get that done and we'll be back. Okay, still currently drying. So next in we're going to go in with Imperial Fist contrast paint, and this is going to be for his yellow jacket, his vest even. This is quite a nice yellow, very vibrant, but we'll probably need 2 coats to get a nice coverage. So I'll just get that done and we'll be back. Okay, so one of the important reasons why you're meant to let your paints dry is bleeding, and this is what's happened here. So when I was doing the yellow, it bled, the green, previous green hadn't dried, so it bled a little bit into it. So you can tidy that up just by going back over with like a white or something, and then back over with a green. But I'm going to leave it there because I think once I wash it and highlight stuff, it won't be very noticeable. So anyway, next up we're going to go in with Mornefang Brown, and this is going to be for his hair. So yeah, very important is letting your paints dry, but you know, I don't always listen to my own advice, which is not great, but if you're not too bothered, then you know, it's not the end of the world. But if you think it would bother you, then yeah, make sure you let your paints dry. But I'll get this done, his hair done, and we'll be back. Next up we're going to go in with Grey Seer. And this is going to be for his shoulders, his sleeves on his t-shirt underneath his vest. So we just want to carefully go in here, nice and slowly. Take your time, because we don't want to have to go over anything again if we can avoid it. Yeah, get this done and we'll be back. Okay, so next step is Contrast Black Legion, and this is going to be for his belts, his buckles, his gun, his gloves. And I'm going to do a little bit on the underside of his helmet just to make it look a bit darker. So yeah, again with this, make sure everything is dry beforehand because you don't want anything bleeding. And just take your time. So with this bit here as well, this waist bit around his waist, this buckle here and that belt, holding his trousers up, the gun, the boots, and gloves, and holsters as well. I'll get that done and we'll be back. Next up is Kantor Blue for his badge. Yeah, there's a nice quick step for this. Nice and easy. Like so. Next up, we're going to go in with Leadbelcher. And this is going to be for all the silvery bits. So this will be his buckles. So along his waist there, that buckle there, just by his belt, holding up his belt. Buckle there, and also do his watch face, like so. And then the back of their gloves, I'll do the silver, like that. And same on this hand, like so. Next up, we're going to go in with Orruk Flesh, and this is for the camo effect on his trousers. So this is just going to be dotted on randomly. So, and then we want to sort of just have it on at random points, like on his knee. Try different shapes, not so much dots, but like different random shapes. We randomly put these across the body, across the trousers, like so. So on the back there, like that, and I'll keep getting this done, and we'll be back. Then we're going to go back in with Mornefang Brown, and this is going to throw down a few more camo colours on his trousers. Break up the greens. You can overlap some of the other colour that we've done, like so. And a few on the back as well. Again, overlap like that, and just some on their own like that. We'll get that down over back. And finally, an even lighter green, we're going to go with Nurgling Green, and again this is just dotted on randomly, just again to break up the previous steps there. Maybe up here, down here. There. Don't go too mad. That. Over it. And that. And down there. Yeah. Quite happy with that. Okay, so that's all the base colours down. Here I advise you just go back over with all the base colours. Just tidy up everything like I've done here. As you can see, I've tidied this bit up here on his vest. By doing that, the colour I find most like the base colour is Ulthuan Grey, so that's what I used. I based that back on over where the green flowed into the yellow, and then went back over it in yellow. So yeah, take this time now to go back over everything, fill in the base colours again to make sure they really pop, and yeah, and then it'll be ready for the washing stage, the shading stage. So I'll get that done on mine, and we'll be back. Okay, so now we are on to the shading phase of this video. So first up, we're going to shade his trousers in the greens. So for this, we're going to use Anthonian Camoshade. This is a nice sort of dirty green colour, sort of more of a browny green, so it won't look funny over the browns. So with this, I'm using a slightly bigger brush than the fine brushes I've been using for the previous stages. This is just to get a bit more coverage. This is going to go over all his trousers, trying to keep away from going onto the blacks and the metal colours. And I'll get this done and we will be back. Next we're going to go in with Casandora Yellow, and this is just to wash the vest. Nice easy step here. Again, try to keep it only on the vest and just take your time. Go slowly and you'll have no trouble. Okay, so next up we're going to go in with Reikland Fleshshade, and this is going to be for his skin and his hair. Again, just take your time. You should have no issues with this step. And finally, we'll go in with Nuln Oil, and this will be for all the metallics, as well as his badge. And we'll try and use it sparingly on his sleeves, just to get into the recesses, let's say. Don't want too much down, but just enough to shade the recesses. Let's say. And then the silvers, the metallics, like that. Belt. His hand. Like that. Okay, so that's all the shades completed. Next, we're going to start up on his eyes first. So for this, I'm going to go in with Ulthuan Grey. I'll do this off camera. If you do this at this stage, then when you do the other highlights on the skin, you can correct where needed. So I'll do that off camera. That's the white of the eyes done. I'm just going to dot it in with Black Legion. This is eyes in. Next, we're going to go in and start tidying up the flesh. So we're going with our original colour, which is Kislev Flesh. And for this, we want about 90% coverage of what we previously washed. Just take your time. Small brush here. Like so. Get the top of the ears. Jawline. Yeah, I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Next up, we're going to go in with Flayed One Flesh. And we're going to mix this in on our wet palette with the previous step to get a nice highlight, and we're going to literally just catch the highest areas, and this will be our final highlight for the skin. Anywhere that will be mostly facing the sun, like the light will be catching, like the top of the arm here. And the fingertips as well, the thumb. And all his fingers. So. Next up, we're going to go in with Ushatabi Bone, and this is going to be for the highlight for the yellows. We want to catch the sharpest edges, like the edges of pockets, creases around the side of the vest there, the neck bit, and on the back this fat bit here, this puffy bit around there, and then the edges and any creases along the back, like so. Next up, we are going to go in with Mornefang Brown, and this is to start highlighting his hair. Just carefully pick out the sharpest bits. There's a lot of definition. There's a lot of lines and stuff in the hair. You just want to use it as a dry brush and just brush over gently, just to catch those highest points. Like so. And then Skrag Brown, and this is going to be for the highest highlight for the hair, sharpest highlight. And this is going to be focused mainly on the top of the head, catching some of those end bits. Try more of a dabbing motion, like so. Next highlight is going to be Ulthuan Grey, and this is going to be for the sleeves of the t-shirt underneath the vest. So be careful here and just take your time. That's it. I'm going back in with Kantor Blue. This is going to be for the badge. Just a quick highlight about that original colour. Cover any mistakes. So next step is we're going to start shading in, highlighting some of the darker greens. For this we're going to want a mix of Moot Green and Caliban Green. About a 50-50 mix here, so I'll get that on the palette. Hang on. That's mixed on the palette here. And with this we're just gonna just do some lines. So on the top of the helmet, gonna fill that in, and then the sharpest points on the trousers. Don't have to go too mad here because of the contrast paint previous. It will it naturally flows into darker areas and it sort of gives it its own highlight, but this is just to accentuate that highlight. So I'll get that done and we'll be back. And next step, we're going to add even more Moot Green to the previous mix, and this should give us our final highlight for that. And this is going to be like on the helm, this is going to be focused more to the centre. That's right. And then, yeah, on the highest points of the trousers. Don't go too mad. Just a few decent points. That's right. Next step, we're going to go back in with Orruk Flesh for the parts on the pants. Or his trousers, and just fill in these parts where the Camoshade went over. Don't have to go too mad because they're meant to be dirty and camo-y. So, but yeah, that's it. Going back in with Nurgling Green, just on the bits on the trousers. That was originally that colour. And that hopefully tie it all in and make it look nice and camoed. That's it. First step of highlighting the blacks is the Dark Reaper. And this is all the blacks except for the gun, because I highlight metallic blacks differently. So this will be for the rounded parts of the boots, like so. Some of the laces, like that. Then like the top bit of the boot there, rounded bit at the back. And for the gloves, it will be the fingers. The fingers like that, and the watch strap, and then even the belts as well. That'll be like that. Then the sharper bit was on the holster. And at the back as well, like so. I'll get that finished and we'll be back. Our final highlight for the blacks, we're going to go Ulthuan Grey, and with this we're going to mix it in with the previous step. So getting like a nice bluish highlight, bluey grey highlight. And this is even more sparingly than previous. And just the laces like that, and just the fingers, little dots will do, the watch, and then the tops of the belts like that, and just the sharpest points of like the holster. I'll get this finished and we'll be back. And final highlight is Leadbelcher, and this is just to pick up those bits on the silvers, well the metallics and also highlight the gun. So with black guns, I like to make them look metallic by giving them a little highlight, so that they're black but with like a silvery metallic highlight. So we're almost nearly there now with this. We've almost finished. And next step, we're going to go with Morrow White, P3 Morrow White. And for this is going to be just the top highlights on the sleeves. Should have done that earlier, but also what we're going to do is sort of do an edge highlight of the badge. Very carefully. Try leaving some blue, like that, so. Just because the badge has writing on it, and we want to, even though we're not writing stars on it, because that would be far too fiddly, we want it to seem like there's some writing on there. So, close to being done now. We're going to go in with Averland Sunset, and this is going to be for the 3 dots on the stars badge, as we always do with our stars members. Steady hand here. 1, 2, 3. And finally, we want stars written across his back. So for this, we're going to use Black Legion. And I always start with the middle letter and work my way outwards, because that way we know where the centre point is. I'll do that off camera. Like so. Quite happy with that. And there you have it. Brad Vickers from Alpha Team with the rest of his stars compatriots. Yeah, so if you enjoy this video, please leave me a like and subscribe. Also, I have a PayPal linked in my description. If you would like to see any of the remaining stars members painted up, or any of the remaining monsters, be it any of the alternate sculpts for the characters, please drop me a donation and your request, and I will happily paint that up as soon as I can. Yeah, so thanks again for watching, and happy painting.